for me, I'd hit the jackpot because I'd moved to London. I had this business all of a sudden, completely out of my depth.
How old were you then?
23, 24.
I mean, shit.
Yeah. So had to learn on the job, really.
Welcome to another episode of Pints of You here with Gary Goldsmith in the Cavendish pub in Marylebone. Today I've got James May. Now, before I introduce James, golf entrepreneur extraordinaire, and we've just been talking about some stuff offline, so we've got the giggles, so just bear with us. I always give my guests a poem, so I've written you a poem. You all right with that?
Yes,
Pints of You.
I was quite impressed with that.
Okay, here we go. Pints of You. Right, it's
Cheers.
Salut. I can only drink non-alcoholic beer just to make it through the day. Much. Right, so, are you ready for this? I took out 2 verses because it was literally looked like we had to get a room. In the heart of the city where the buildings touch the sky, there is a place of joy, of wonder, where balls, they do fly. James Day, the owner, a vision so bold, he's crafted urban golf, a story to be told. Stop with the eyes, it's too intense. Amidst the concrete jungle where dreams take flight, urban golf emerging, a beacon of light. To create a place of joy where golfers unite, a sanctuary in the city, day and night. James knows all the celebrities and isn't afraid to ask us. Getting the A-listers to grace his special mini masters. Shoehorned that, right? With every putt and every drive, James's passion and profits, they do thrive. An entrepreneur, a visionary, and a friend to the world of urban golf, he'll forever lend for a price. So here's to James Day, the modern entrepreneur. Welcome, mate. What do you think of my new her? Okay, that's the clap, mate.
No, it didn't deserve one. Normally I'd back you up, but I mean, you've done some shitters, but that is right up there.
It's a long one, isn't it?
Well
done, Gal. I'm very touched by that.
Fuck you, bitch. Unbelievable. Fuck's sakes. Unbelievable.
Could you just go back to the rhyme where you shoehorned masters in the word before?
Ask us.
Sure, okay.
Do you know what? ChatGPT was having a bad day, so fuck you. So now we know. So James, welcome, buddy. Owner of Urban Golf, which we all love. There's so many. Oh, and obviously we got Hogan here today. So we do have a dog in the house. So it's anything could possibly happen. All the things we could talk about. So the career before Urban Golf, which we were just talking about. How on earth did the idea come about? What did it take to start up? Balls, big golf balls. What's next? What else is going on? The Mini Masters, which has to be the best golf day ever in the world. One of my mates nearly drowned. I saw David Seaman fishing for fish in a pond that there wasn't fish. Rowan Keaton was basically crying on my shoulder waiting for his taxi. We bought shit that we never knew we needed. It was just the best golf day ever. We have to bring that back. Keeping up with the tech in terms of golf and golf sims and what you're doing there. How did lockdown affect you? Because it's really, really tough. And the fact is still that you never took me up on my offer that we should be putting this in airport lounges. And I'm going to come back to you and literally I'm going to haunt you about that because I think it's a great idea. Are you right for that?
Yeah.
We're going to go at pace because we have some fun and games to play.
Okay.
So thank you very much for making it really, really early in the morning. And literally, I love the fact that you straight with a pint. Love you. You're a superstar. Life before Urban Golf.
Yeah.
So obviously you speak very well. So I'm assuming you've gone to a great school.
I don't think I did actually. I suppose
didn't go. Or you had
I didn't go very much, no. But my dad sent us to my dad was didn't stay at school and really wanted us to have a proper education. So he sent us to a private primary school. I lived in an area where we had grammar schools, so my brother and I both passed the old 12 plus and got into a grammar school, which meant Dad was off the hook on school fees, which he was very happy about.
Right.
And
I didn't, by the way.
Huh?
I didn't pass.
You didn't?
No, I was very late.
Our school was a bit, I think just about everyone, it's almost like you paid for it. But
right.
so went to this grammar school in Marlow, which was nice, but I just hated school. I absolutely could not. I think I've probably got ADHD, and for me, school was just painful. I found it really hard to, I'd get very depressed on Sunday nights, and it didn't help that I was, fanatically playing golf all the time, and I had a scholarship membership at Stoke Poges, which we were just talking about, and there were all the good players from the area used to play at Stoke Poges. So there was all these mates with all these guys who were in there.
What were they called? So you used to have like Tigers and Cubs, and what was the junior section called at Stoke?
I think they just called it the junior section at that time. Yeah, it was before all these new names for things.
Right.
But all the good players from the area were there, and they were sort of playing full-time golf. Some of them who were trying to turn pro and things, and I'd have to sort of leave them on Sunday and go to school. I was really not very happy about it. So I got out of school as quickly as possible.
15?
Yeah, 15, and I played pretty much full-time golf and worked in a pizza restaurant at night for about a year and a half, and had quite a lot of fun that summer as well. And then I just sort of thought, well, maybe Dad was on my back, said that probably I did need to have something to fall back on. So I started to do the PGA training. Went to work in the pro shop at my original home club,
which was
Flatwell Heath, one that you can see from the motorway. From the
I know it. I've played it. Yeah.
So hilly.
Yeah.
And Dad's still a member there. So so I worked in the shop there, and I started teaching there, and that's the first time I set up a workshop and started to make clubs. So that was the beginning of that, which I still do now. And sort of finished my training off more or less there. I did go to it somewhere. I went to Burnham Beeches in between. And then I went to work.
It's a beautiful club.
Yeah.
But I've got to say, you had Terry Wogan as a member, and I lived around the corner.
Yeah.
So, but I don't think that's a bit of you.
No.
It's God's waiting room.
Yeah, it is. And then I went to Stoke Park, Stoke Poges, Stoke Park. It was probably changing to Stoke Park at that time, and I'd been a member there as well before that. So when I went to work there, I was sort of getting to the end of my training. I pretty quickly started to just teach full time there, more or less, and I got all these really great clients. I always say the wonderful thing, and where I'm very, very lucky with golf, is that having left school early and not really been into that, I've been educated at the golf club by brilliant men. I have. You meet so many different people, and there were so many at that time. I always say I had about 8 surrogate fathers. Of people that I've met along the way, and they teach you so much. When you meet somebody that is a real classy operator, you learn all sorts of different things.
Yeah.
So a lot of that at Stoke, and then eventually, I was.
But Stoke's got massive tradition, isn't it?
It has, but then
James Bond, the 007 piece, and Layer Cake.
It all become very relaxed at that point. It wasn't like a private golf club, really. It was more sort of, because it had gone a bit resorty, and that had really opened it up. It was definitely a golden time at that club at that point. There were some real characters there. It was a good laugh.
I can't tell you how many times I played Stoke, and I was about to join, because the tennis centres as well, it was just the best tennis centre. And I thought this was absolutely perfect. And as I phoned up to join, they said, "Yeah, we've just sold it." And the guy is going to have it as his own personal home.
Yeah.
I mean, how's that changed?
Well, it's mad. I mean, it's kind of sad to see that happening. I mean, to be honest with you, there was some of the stuff that had been done over the years, I think, had made it worse. So probably the stuff that happened over the last 8 to 10 years had actually made it worse from a golfing perspective, which was the bit I was into. But this I can't remember the name of the family, this Indian family that bought it, but they are literally one of the richest families in India. And I think the idea is that they want to just have it as their private residence, but the people on the planning committee aren't quite playing ball. They're saying that they have to still have a golf course there, and I think that they've said that they're going to build another course going round the outside that won't go near the clubhouse. That beautiful big white building.
Yeah. It's synonymous, right?
Yeah,
if you know it, you know it. Yeah.
So, I mean, in the summer there, it was so cool.
It's so cool.
Yeah. So they'll build another golf course going around the outside, which is, that golf course was a Harry Cole, brilliant, classic, amazing golf course. Yeah, 27 holes, but the original 18 was really the the bit that was the best bit, and so it's no longer, basically it will never be.
It absolutely breaks my heart to think of that. I've never played golf there without a helicopter landing.
Yeah,
it is one of those courses. It's a proper destination place, and it was fantastic.
Yeah,
and the service and the food was just impeccable.
Yeah, it's a shame, but there you go.
Hang on, did you talk to me earlier about penguins?
Yeah, so the family that have bought it are very into animals, and they've got unlimited money. So one of the things that I've heard that they're doing, which is quite nice, is they're you know how you used to come up that road, that driveway, and there'd be the car park out the front and everything.
Yeah.
They've made it so that when you come in, you go straight into a tunnel, and you never see a car. So you just go into the tunnel, and they put this massive underground parking thing near the clubhouse. And so when you come out of the clubhouse now, it's all grass, and apparently there's animals everywhere. You know, there's all sorts running around the course. And one of the things that they've done is they've bought one of the very nice houses by the course.
Which beautiful houses.
Yeah, and they've turned it into a penguin sanctuary.
Can't make this shit up.
No, honestly.
More money than God.
Yeah, it's like Jurassic Park.
Don't I look like Nicky Ambro at the best of times, so we won't touch that. So you're at Stoke Park. Thank you for that, by the way, because that's just genius. Literally, I think you're treading on very thin ice for that one. You get whacked for that story. Then you're at Stoke Park, and what happened between Stoke Park and urban golf?
I think over those years of working at golf clubs and being around different people, I'd realised that I had an entrepreneurial spirit. I definitely was ambitious and wanted to do something. And I loved, it's funny, growing up just that little bit outside of London, you suddenly get your driving licence, you start coming into London on a regular basis, you're like, bloody hell, it's a different world, So at that age, you want a bit of that. So I had a bit of an obsession about living in London. And then I was also teaching a couple of days a week as part of what I was doing at Stoke at the Knightsbridge Golf School, which was, at the time, just hitting golf balls in a squash court into nets. And so that all of those things came together, and I started thinking about initially my own golf school, because that would be better than what was going on at Knightsbridge. And then started to look at golf simulators and sort of started to realise that actually that technology had moved on quite a lot. And we went to see some indoor golf centres in Norway and Oslo. This is like 2002. So I'm very young, by the way. I'm only 22 at this time. And went to look at Norway, and it was quite a scene. It's quite a social scene of people playing indoor golf. And from there, we realised that it could be the entertainment thing, and we started out in Soho. I mean, that site in Soho, no entrance, just a black door. I mean, I love these sorts of things in life. I think, I mean, to get people to put money into that. I mean, it did work, but I mean, they must have been mad, but because we had no entrance. And initially, it was so hard to get a license in Westminster. Initially, we were serving drinks out of the kitchen. We weren't even allowed to have a bar. We had a license, but it had to be ancillary to doing food. So the drinks were coming out of the kitchen, and we were doing sushi from the man round the corner, and then sandwiches from the place that we were buying.
It was genius. So I think I was probably an early adopter. Yeah. So we found you, and people used to say, "What are you doing for lunch?" I went, "The usual, 2 hours," and you used to rock up to yours and just hit balls. And we were just, I bought all of the other directors at S3, I bought them lockers so they could come, and we never used the lockers, but it's just nice having your name up as you walk through the door. Yeah,
exactly. But it's funny, back then it was when people were going out for lunch and having a few pints, and that bit of the business, when we first started out, the lunchtime business was pretty much as good as the evening business. Cut to today, it's
different world.
Not that good at all.
We'll come on to that, because I think that's really interesting, because the dynamics change with people not coming to work.
Yeah.
So businesses like yours, it's like the sandwich bars and everything in between. It's really affected the world.
Yeah.
So then you went on this massive expansion. So you've gone from Soho, then you went back to Kensington, and then into Smithfields.
Yeah. So I raised money basically through people that I knew from the golf club. I came up with a little business plan. There were two people in particular, Simon and Nick, who were property guys, who I ended up knocking about with for years, and we were like, together all the time. And they were the first people to sort of to like it and to start giving me a bit of help. Then we went and got a few more investors. Then I managed to find somebody to help me write a proper business plan, and then away we went. And we signed that site. We signed a 20-year lease, put a big deposit down. We raised, you could borrow money then, imagine that.
Yeah, not like today.
No, we raised about 2/3 of the money, so we raised about 600 grand in cash. And then believe it or not, we asset financed the simulators. Which,
did you really?
Yeah. And we didn't put personal guarantees down or anything. It's mad, isn't it? You just couldn't even think about doing something like that today.
Remotely close.
So we borrowed the money for the Sims, and then went pretty well. It's worth noting what the business was at that time. It's what I would call second generation simulators. So they were working off these infrared systems. They were okay. You could play golf on them. It's the first time that a sim had worked only off the ball, which is really the step that makes a difference.
Yeah.
And for me, I'd hit the jackpot because I'd moved to London. I had this business all of a sudden, completely out of my depth.
How old were you then?
23, 24.
I mean, shit.
Yeah. So had to learn on the job, really. But away we went, and it was the one thing that bothered me about it. I loved it, and I was so pleased to be where I was. But from a golfing perspective, it wasn't what I wanted it to be. And we very quickly opened up at Smithfield, borrowed all the money for Smithfield from Barclays Bank.
Unbelievable.
And that was pretty hard. Was paying back that money, 36,000 a month we were paying back at one point. It's horrible. But we kept going, and cash was tight then because we were paying back all that money. And at that time I also really started to try and delve into the technology because I wanted the Sims to be better. We were using a company called...
How many times have you changed your tech? Is it 3?
Only really once, one big change. Yeah. It's a pretty expensive thing to do.
Yeah, it's massive.
Yeah. So I actually went down the path of trying to develop our own technology, which was quite good because you just learn so much about how it really works rather than just working off of what the companies are telling you it does.
Yeah.
So did that and was sort of travelling around developing a prototype sim, which I had done. And then there was this one person called Bill Bales, who owns one of the other sim companies, who I'd got to know, and he's a really good guy. We weren't using his sims at that time, but we met up with him at the big golf trade show in Orlando, and he had it was always going to be about cameras in the end. Golf sims use radar, TrackMan's radar.
Yeah.
It's no good indoors. It needs the whole flight of the ball, so it was always going to be cameras.
Right.
And we were developing a camera thing, but we had a long way to go with it, and Bill had basically done it. He had the cameras in different locations to what they are now.
Is that what the balls had the dots on? So you can actually see the flight of the ball.
So all of a sudden it is really tracking spin. It can lock onto those dots.
Yeah.
And you can really hit shots on it.
And you weren't playing with range balls, it was proper Titleist balls and
So then
proper.
I'd bought full swing sims for the existing 2 sites. So I had 14 full swing sims, which are 50 grand a pop. So we had a bit of cash in them, and but I really did feel that we needed to change, and I just felt that if we were only an entertainment business, we would have died. I think you can pretty much open anything in London and have a good 3 years.
Yeah.
Because everyone will try it out.
Yeah, it's axe throwing.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, but I really did believe that if the ball tracking was good and if the sims were good, the great thing about golf is that it's never ending in terms of playing different courses and being able to play different games. It's like some things that it's always the same, right? Like you say, axe throwing or whatever it is. I think those things come to an end. So yeah, I was really worried.
You also had some amazing pros there, by the way. I mean, I was having lessons there fairly frequently.
James Ellis, you've been having lessons with?
Yeah, and it was he changed my game.
No, he's a great guy, James Ellis.
He's a really good guy.
Well, interestingly, he will approach it from a completely different direction. Most people go for a golf lesson, they get told a load of things to do with swing positions and things like that, whereas James is a bit more human about it.
Triggers and stuff, Yeah, no, it was really good.
I mean, I've known James since I did my PGA training with James in the late 90s.
So I think that there were lots of businesses that came in to try and copycat, and I think they all failed. And I think it's really speaking to you about it here and now is bleeding obvious because you were so passionate about it and you like your golf, so you want it to be as good as it could be as opposed to trying to make money.
Yeah.
And actually you made money and you've survived and thrived, whereas most of these businesses have just gone or capitulated because they just didn't evolve.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why we have survived. It's just coming up to 20 years now. I can't. That might be one of the reasons. I mean, I've just been head down with it really. But I do want it to be as good as it can be, and I do genuinely. Even though obviously I would say this because it's my business, but I really believe that this sort of simulator golf has a role to play in the game, because when it's good, when it works well, and there are so many sims that do not work well, but when it's working well, and it's great. You know, I still play. We're just heading into simulator golf season now, aren't we? So you know, I'll stop going up to Highgate in the evenings and just stay at work and play loads of golf.
To be fair, Highgate, that's a walk, isn't it? That's such a walk when you play Highgate. Should we talk about the Mini Masters?
Yes.
Right, Strapping. Unbelievable. How on earth did that come about? And for people who don't know, it is without doubt the best golf event on the planet, bar none.
Yeah.
The idea, there's a bar on the tee, there's a bar on the green, there's a bar on the tee, there's a bar on the green, 9 holes, and you do it twice, and you have a hog roast or a burger or something in between.
Yeah.
I've never seen more drunk people. I was playing with Mike Tyndall once, and Ray Wilkins, bless his soul, came past, and he was so hammered that day, and he just said, "Where's my ball? Am I playing in front of you or behind you?" And I said, "Mate, I've been seeing your sweaty crack underneath fern trees all day long." He came up and punched me. I went, "Mike, he punched me." And Ray went, "He thinks that's a punch." Right? But it was just the funniest day I've ever had in my life. And we were trying to chip onto like a floating green.
Yeah.
And they were just bouncing off. So my mate just jumped on.
I remember that now. Yeah.
Do you remember? It was like a unicorn. Who was carrying that round? One of the
Glenn Clark, that was.
Oh, so he jumped onto it and just tried to swim out, and he's gone under. Phone, keys, all gone.
Honestly.
It was carnage, but with
very
such
irresponsible.
a beautiful bunch of people who were just really, really. Gianluca was there.
Yeah.
I mean, bless his soul, right? Some really.
The
cool
good thing was
people
that came, team members and celebrities. The ones that got it were going to come every year. There was the odd celeb that would turn up and would leave at lunchtime because they'd be like, "What the hell's this?" Hugh Grant did that.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Oh, I just thought it was just so much fun that people were just getting into it. Phil Glenister, I've spoken to him since. He was just really good fun.
Well, you know, there is a very big history to the Mini Masters, and newsflash, Gary, it hasn't actually ended.
We love Gary's World because it pays the bills. Business consulting, mentoring, growth coaching, and the ultimate recruitment. They're delivered by a genius and sup handsome legend who brings the fun and smirk to the business of work. It's me. Links in the normal show notes as ever. Call me. I'll take 4.
Well, wait till you say that, because basically the Mini Masters comes out of. Do you remember David Ford, who used to be the general manager at Urban Golf? Brilliant golfer, lovely bloke. There for years, with us 15 years. Yeah. So I'll try and make this short as possible. So David Ford is a brilliant golfer and comes from rural North Devon. He lives in Bideford, and his parents, both doctors, lived on a farm, and they had this sort of orchard and this whole area that goes down. So from the age of about 12. He'd been carving out this golf course out of in the garden, and then eventually he started to invite all the boys from the golf club up, and they had this day which was called the Cabbage Patch Open, right? And it ended up being fancy dress, and there was booze everywhere, and there was music, and it was a thing. And then do you remember Dan Davies?
Of course I do.
Yeah, so Dan Davies was great friends with Fordy, and he actually introduced me to Fordy in 2005 at the Open, and that's how Fordy ended up coming to work at Urban Golf, at the golf punk party it was. And when Dan was working at Esquire, he played in the Dunhill, and he got to know Dougray Scott.
Yeah.
And Dougray Scott was the patron of this charity, so he wanted to do a golf day, and Dan said, "Well, why don't you do?"
Luca, yeah.
Luca, based on the cabin patch that Fordy does down in Devon. Why didn't we do a big event at Duke's Meadows? And that was where it came together. So the thing with the Mini Masters is, and that I think we did 10. Few times it went to sleep for a while and missed a few years, and then we get it back together. What it really needed was about 4 people to absolutely flog themselves to death for about 6 months to make it happen. Yeah. And the problem was that because we would spend so much on the production of what we put on the course, with all the sound system and the bars and the commentary tower, we'd all get very carried away with it, which was great fun, by the way. We loved it. By the time we'd spent the money on that, your team money would cover that just if you sold the teams well enough, and you were so reliant on this auction at the end
to
of the
make
day
any cash,
to make anything for the charity, which we did manage to do.
We went to Berry Brothers.
Yeah,
that was good.
I remember you bought. It was like 10 people in the private room at Berry Brothers.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I bet it was.
I bought a pair of golf shoes signed by I think the world number 1 at the time, and I just wore them on the course. And I was like, aren't you supposed to put them in a box? I went, they're really comfy.
That's the sort of thing I do as well. I can't help it.
Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah. So it was a lovely thing, and I think where we've got to, and the reason I say it's kept going is because during lockdown, Dan moved down to Devon. He lived in Hammersmith, and he ended up moving down to Devon to stay with his parents, with his family, and he loved it so much he's moved down there permanently now. But he's got this house, and it has this bit of land out the front. And
so it's going to be there?
Well, it is literally, he's got an Instagram account. It's called RNGC Golf Club. And if you go on that Instagram account, this is Dan. It's I wouldn't say it's taken over his life, but it's brought this lovely thing to his life, where he just looks after this golf course that he's cut out of this big area at his house down there. And this year was the 2nd year of the RNGC Invitational, but we really are we're unplugged again now.
We're in.
Well, this is camping.
Yeah. Oh, hang on.
But
it's got.
There are some local hotels.
Yes, of course.
Yes. But it is if you go on his Instagram account, you'll see all the pictures.
And is it fancy dress?
Fancy dress, yeah. Of course it is. And Dan's a brilliant DJ, so he's got this barn area where he DJs, and honestly, it was one of the best. I always say actually it's not me that says this, it's Cathal, my business partner in Sounder. He always talks about the therapeutic effect of a good time, and it's true. That RNGC day this year, we had such a brilliant day. You kind of kick off. It was raining when we started out as well, and the course is impossible. So the rough is 2-3 foot long around the green.
Right, like the Bucks.
You'll lose. No, way worse. Bund, we call it. You'll lose. I mean, I walk around with a big bag of practice balls. That's that bad. You lose. Yeah, there's 10-shot limit on each hole.
To be fair, one of my friends who's always come to every one is called Ian Simpkins. He's quite small, so I have to put one of those little radio antennas with a flag on him if he's going through that rough. Bless him. Love you, Simo. We'll be all over that.
Have a look on his Instagram,
which is cool. Right, I'd love to know what's next, because I know you've got fashion brands. If you look at your websites, obviously being a very handsome fella, you've got Primo Space as the poster boy.
Saving money.
Tell us about that.
Sounder is again another one of these things that I start things because I think they could be great. I don't necessarily start things with the feeling of how do I make some money out of this initially. So Sounder was just literally Cathal McAteer, who owns a brand called Folk, which some people might know. He came in because I also make clubs as a bit of a hobby stroke business venture, mostly hobby. He came in to have some clubs done. He's a great guy. We got along really well. Become great friends about 5 years ago this was. And I tried to convince him that we should start a golf brand together, which he wasn't very keen on to begin with, because his I think the people that are into his brand are quite cool, quite trendy, and don't necessarily see golf as something they want to be associated with. So took a little bit of convincing, but I'm glad to say he got on board with it in the end. And we've just been, we've both got our day jobs, so our bit, we have a couple of people have got involved who are much better at running businesses than we are, which has been actually learning to work collaboratively with people and working in more of a sort of democratic business has been quite good for me. It's been nice.
But do you think that whole urban golf journey, the people where you make money today, are they stags, blokes who don't play golf, there for a laugh and a good night out, which it is, or is it people who are taking golf really seriously, who just need to get their practicing when they're working so hard?
All of that, but it's definitely more golfers now.
Right.
There's more golf swings in the room, and it's geared up so that people come in groups in the evening. That's the only way you can make it work. So it really is kind of. And what's amazing about urban golf is that most nights of the week, 20 people organise themselves into a group of 4 or more people. We all know how hard that is.
That's right. It's like herding sheep.
Yeah. So it is. It's. There are a lot more groups of people like you and I who play golf on a reasonably regular basis that are into playing on sims now. It's simulator golf is really. It's booming now. I mean, I was way too early.
So why didn't we do it in the airports? Because I thought airside, I know it's a big metal stick and it's a really hard ball, so weapons grade. But apart from that, if you sign 3 balls out and you sign out 2 bats, and you've got a 6-hole challenge, and then you could have a prize for a second-hand Mini, whoever gets the nearest the pin for a year.
My thing is, you need with sims how they are at the moment, you need to put 5 or 6 in a place to make it work. Okay. 1 or 2 never works. Because it's just not, you can't get enough out of them.
Right.
I've worked on something which is like an indoor driving range, which you just go up and hit shots on and swipe your credit card, and it's unmanned and everything, unstaffed. But I haven't quite got that done yet.
Okay. Should we have a chat?
Yeah.
Because I'm all over this. Because when you go to, you're flying anywhere, you're there 2 hours early. It's like. And you go to a lounge and there's just people just doing this. Yeah. Wouldn't you prefer to have that in the BA lounge?
Well, look, it's an interesting moment in my life in urban golf business because I've got it into a very steady state. But now indoor golf is going to boom. So you know about this Tiger Woods thing next year?
No.
So basically, Tiger Woods has invested about a year ago into a simulator company, the worst simulator company, by the way, which is weird. They're the same sims that we threw away to move to the new stuff we're on now. I don't get it, but anyway. And he has pitched this idea called they call it TGL. It's him and Rory McIlroy, and it's in a stadium in an arena with, imagine like a massive screen, but ultimately a simulator. And they will play matches in 2 hours. It's going to be screened on ESPN prime time, and it's massive money. Massive.
So like e-games?
Well, they are, they will have to do something. So it will say that it's a full swing simulator, but it won't be. They will have to do something with some mega camera tracking technology, some really good stuff.
Not turned up to max.
Yeah, exactly, and make it accurate. And then apparently they're going to putt. They've got a putting green which will move, so they can actually hit the putts. Once they get inside about 30 feet, they can hit the putts on this.
That's genius, by the way.
Yeah,
Great
it's going to be huge, and that's going to really catapult. I mean, indoor golf is booming anyway, and obviously Tiger's now opening indoor golf centres, so he's got his first one in New York. Tiger Woods and Justin Timberlake are opening indoor golf centres. So, so now it's time for me to get off my butt, really. So
let's talk.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
We're going to try and do something.
Jamesy, that was brilliant. Massive shout out to James Connors, Honor, Quetzal, Cutesal, who knows, as our main sponsors for season 2 of Pints of You. Now, Quetzal, guys coming through the busy marketplace, helping businesses buy the technology that is aligned with their strategies. No more buying tech to keep up with the Joneses, having a plan that makes it your ownsies. We love what they're doing, especially with the telephony stuff at the moment. So, cheers, buddy. Really appreciate it. Use them. We haven't talked about Liv. So someone, because if you think you're Tiger or Rory, how pissed off must they be that they basically stayed true? Everybody else went off, made themselves 10, 20, 30 million, and then come back and go, all right?
Yeah, I know.
And all come back together.
It's a mad world we're living in. I personally think there is something that at the core of it, which is that these players who are now so rich really are starting to forget about the fact that it's the fans that put them there, and they're doing things which from a fan perspective, are compromising what we're seeing. I mean, this Ryder Cup was saved. I mean, there's no event that fans are more into than the Ryder Cup. I think. This Ryder Cup was saved by some of the live players being able to play, but the US still didn't have Dustin Johnson, they still didn't have Bryson DeChambeau, so it was massively compromised. I mean, if they were sticking to what they said a year ago, that Ryder Cup would have been rubbish. Both teams would have been compromised. And
also, I did think the golf was really good, but it did miss some of the big names.
Yeah,
it was just like a championship.
And I think that US team, to your point, was fractured because there is a lot of bad feeling, and there's the most interesting part of it is the corporate bit.
Yeah.
Is what happened in terms of Jay Monahan and how it all came about. Now, since getting my amateur status back, so I was a PGA pro, I was in no man's land for years. I wasn't, after starting Urban Golf, I didn't play in tournaments. I was just but I still played loads of golf, but I just never, anyway, so I decided to get my amateur status back. And since getting my amateur status back, I've settled into where I've ended up in terms of my sort of golfing community is weirdly in old linksy, buffy golf clubs around all the sort of posh old boys who are good at golf, and
right.
and I love it. But you do get a bit of an inside track into some of the stuff that's gone on, and I think basically the PGA Tour had to do that deal because they were not going to be able to go through the whole court bit. They were going to run out of cash,
right?
And they're never going to have sponsors. They went out to all their sponsors and said, you're going to have to pony up, we need to beef everything up.
Yeah.
Not happening. And they did that deal they agreed the deal, basically signed it without the approval of the players, and the players own the tour.
Yeah,
it's a monumental thing to do that. And then off the back of that, Jay Monahan goes off for 3 weeks. It was definitely stress. He's just gone away for 3 weeks, and so I'm passionate about golf. I'm passionate about everything.
You're just being pragmatic about it.
But I'm a bit now checked out of this kind of pro game because it's a shit show.
And do you think that's the reason why they're trying to do this indoor golf tour? Do you think that's some way to?
It's all greed. It's all money at that level. That's all it is. It's all about the cash, and so many of these players have shown that's really the main driver. And of course, you've got sports agents in there who are grinding away, and the problem is it's taken away from some of the bigger conversations in golf, which the bigger conversation than this, I think, is the fact that I don't know if you've seen any of the stuff where the RNA and the USGA really want to start to regulate the equipment a bit more aggressively for the pros, because there's so many golf courses, brilliant golf courses, that they can't play anymore because they're not long enough. So they want to start to regulate the ball and the clubs and everything. That this is the live thing, and the battle that's gone on at live has really stopped all of those important parties. So that the tours, the pro tours, and the PGA in America and the PGA here, it's really stopped all of them being able to work together on that. And so that's now not going to happen. And I mean, ultimately it's one of those really interesting things, which is that big businesses in golf take a 3 to 5 year view, but the USGA and the RNA have this job to do, which is the longer term health of golf generally, and the longer term thing with the game, and because the big companies have got louder voices because they've got geared up marketing operations and they've got pros on the payroll, they don't give a shit about the good of the game. They really don't care. It's all about the bottom line, and so they're actually stopping the RNA and the USGA from being able to do the thing, which is what they're supposed to be doing. And that's a bit, and all this stuff with live and everything, I mean, that's just a load of greedy pros fighting over money. That's all it is.
Which is a shame, because that's money going out of grassroots, and it's really hard to run a golf course. I nearly bought one at High Lee in Knutsford, and someone just reminded me from the management of the Happy Mondays, I shit you not. I mean, how did they get involved in the golf course? But you don't make money on the golf course until you're almost like a third owner, and then you sell it to a big corporate, and they want to put a hotel there. Yeah. That's really all they're trying to do. It's about resorts-based golf as opposed to community-based golf.
Yeah, I mean, I've always been quite interested in, obviously COVID has created a bit of a boom in golf, and it's kicked the can down the road for a lot of the problems that the game was facing at that level. So I always felt like there's a load of really quite good but run down normal golf clubs, the type of place that's got a shorter course, 6,000 yards, 500 members maybe, but that's dwindling a bit, and they're sort of owned by the members, but they're underinvested. I always felt like there was a place for, as they start to really go down, sort of saving them, and just turning them into places where it's like, have you ever played at King's Barnes?
No.
In Scotland. So King's Barnes is hyper expensive and all the rest of it, but the guy has just put like a tiny clubhouse. It's a great golf course, tiny clubhouse. You play your golf, you come in, you have a burger and a couple of pints, and you go. Perfect. So, and it just so happens that King's Barnes is 350 quid a round. But with those old members' clubs, I think if you turn them into a King's Barnes that was 50 quid a round, where you can change your shoes in the car park, nobody's going to drive you mad about the dress code. We are going to make you play at a sensible pace. So you're sort of saying to people, we guarantee you can have a 4-hour round. Everything's done to a nice level. Boom. And don't have members. Just turn them into really.
Do you know what? So the Bucks is trying to change what they're doing. They want to do some development, and the local council won't let them do it. They put the prices up to try and make sure that they look like they're unstable and about to go under. At which point they say, unless you give us our planning permission, this club's going to go. And that's what they're doing.
This is the Buckinghamshire.
Buckinghamshire, and they've got a new greenkeeper, so it goes fairway, ugly, ridiculous,
horrible. See,
ridiculous. And it's I mean, I'm not a crap golfer, but I'm not a great golfer, but I'm not a crap golfer. I lost 12 balls in the first night, and as I came back in, I went, too hard for you. I went, well, you obviously know it's too hard. It's ridiculous.
It's stupid golf thinking, and I think I am a bit anti-certain. I'm not. The golf industry is not for me. I'm kind of lucky, I suppose, because I went off and started a business. I never really climbed the greasy pole of the golf industry, so I look at it from outside, and that type of thinking. I mean, why? You haven't got a pro event going on, I don't think there's a lot of golf courses that I don't think should have any rough. Why? Why would you do that? You should make it less fun. You slow it down. It's just terrible. It's. I don't get it. I don't get that attitude of wanting to have the course like that. It drives me mad.
What's the one in Surrey that's basically everything's in a valley and it's got pines? Pines something? But actually, you can't hit a bad shot because it goes up in the trees and rolls down. Yeah. And it's the best place in the world. If you haven't played golf for a bit, go and play there. Yeah. And you come back thinking, hey, and it builds your confidence. And golf is generally that 6 inches, isn't it?
Well, I play at... I'm a member at Royal North Devon, and that course, because there's sheep and horses all over it,
I love that.
There's no rough, so it's beautiful because off the tee you've got complete freedom.
Yeah.
And you need to get the right angle into the green, but you're not having to look for balls. And if you've hit it way offline, you've got an impossible shot in because it's hard to get it on the green. So
yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
You've been brilliant. Should we play some games? Boom, boom, and thank you to all that CapEx. That's Dan Cap's FX business. It took ages to come up with that name, OBS. Managing your foreign currency at the bank is a mug's game. Done right, it can be an additional profit centre. CapEx is Dan Cap's Anco. Great guy, scratch golfer, moneymaker extraordinaire, the one I choose personally. Links in the normal show notes. Dan, see you on the golf course soon. Alphabet soup. Alphabet soup. Right, so James runs around here like my Debbie McGee.
I'm not going to be very good at this, am I?
Don't wake the dog up. Right,
spin it gently.
Spin it, give it a good spin. Gently. That's okay.
Oh.
We're going again, aren't we? Who's
got any exes?
I've got some exes, but they're all shit. Go again. What should we talk about? Let's just go again. H. We can do H. Right, can I have my book, my magic book? It's like, this is your life. So the idea was...
You've really done your homework, haven't you, Gary?
Mate,
very well prepared.
Actually, I'm godlike. Right, so we can talk about... Here's some ideas. Health. Heroes. So what do you do to keep yourself healthy? Heroes for you in life. We can talk about what makes you happy and how you get your head screwed on when you're running a business, especially during some of the things that have happened in the world recently. Or an H that you want to talk about.
No, let's go with your ones. I get Tourette's with this sort of thing. I can only think of bad things.
I was trying to think what a swear word with H was.
You're a bad subject.
Okay. Which one do we want to start with? Happy, health, or heroes?
Well, I've not got much to say on health, really. I've fallen off the boil a bit on that front.
Really? Do you keep yourself making fit as fuck?
I haven't done anything for a few years now, but I tell you what, I was absolutely, and what I would do if I could get my arse in gear to do this sort of thing again, was I got really, really into doing yoga.
Really?
Yeah, I loved it. I think the thing with yoga is it's firstly, it's a very difficult thing to do as a bloke because we're not very flexible, and you kind of have to admit that and find your own way of doing each thing, and then it gets a bit more tolerable. But the other thing is the difference between the good yoga classes and the bad ones is quite a lot. And my ex-girlfriend knew all the good classes, so she really showed me where to go, and I just was addicted to it. I think I was doing 4 or 5 a week, and it felt, it's a lovely kind of strength because it's different to going to the gym because you actually feel strong kind of out there. And feel really brilliant for golf. It was really good for my golf. And then I don't know what happened really. I just sort of stopped.
The only time I've ever done yoga is my daughter was doing it for all of the pirates, my other business, during lockdown.
Yeah.
And we realised, really, I am the Tin Man.
Yeah.
But there was a thing with, I think, Gabby Logan on TV. So you have to stand next to a wall, take one step back as a man, so you can bend down at 90 degrees and put your head against the wall.
Yeah.
And you put a table and see if you can basically put it up to your chest and stand up.
Right.
Now, men can't do it, but women can.
Yeah.
But have you ever tried it? I've only just told you.
Yeah.
Do it, try it, because apparently it's impossible. I can't do it, and Julianne can.
Yeah.
So that's really, really weird. How does that even manifest itself? So, yeah.
But it was, and the other thing is, moving seamlessly onto Happy, it's definitely something where that moment, for an hour and a half doing something where you can't look at your phone, you are trying to basically clear your head for an hour and a half. It's near on impossible. But just having that moment where, and most importantly, it's just doing something that's just for you. I think it was really very healthy from that perspective as well.
I went through a divorce, and also was leaving the business at the same time. So I was on my own for a lot of the time, and I ended up going and playing golf on my own.
Oh yeah.
I can't think of anything worse I could have done in my life.
Really?
It was the worst thing in the world. I just went into really dark places. Who had Russell Abbott? Remember Russ Abbott?
Yeah.
He was playing golf behind me one day, and he caught up, and I was playing quite well, and he said, "Should we play together?" And after 2 hours, he goes, "I'll move on."
No way.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I was in a really dark place, so I was just snap hooking. But either way,
I love going up there on my own. I mean, I take him and we go up and hit balls on the range. Up at Highgate, we've got a range which is not a range; it's just a tee where you hit your own balls, which I love because nobody goes down there, and I've got good balls rather than range balls. So I go down there with him on summer evenings. That is our happy place.
I do like Highgate. It's a really good course. What's the one where you tee off and it's all the way down, so you're off on the reservoir all the way down?
Yeah, that's 10.
Yeah, that's.
I hate the course.
Oh dear.
It's 5 minutes from where I live, and it's if you live in London and you can get to a golf course that quickly, you have to join. But that's its only redeeming feature for me. It drives me mad. It's just so fiddly and so.
It's fiddly.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't like. Do you want to go and smack it?
Yeah.
And heroes.
Heroes. That's an interesting one. I mean, we sort of meet heroes every day, don't we, in a way? But my big hero, and I hate to be a golf ball, but it's probably Seve Ballesteros. I think, it's just difficult not to love that man. And then, I don't know, I suppose it's interesting to think about heroes who, you've met in your life and great people. There's one man I did meet in my life who was probably one of my surrogate fathers, and it's a bit of a weird one, but he was a truly brilliant man, and I bet you've met him.
Who's that?
Oscar Owide.
No, I've not.
Okay, Gary. Have you ever been, or did you ever go, it's not what it was anymore, to the Windmill in Soho?
I'm aware of its work. we had an office right opposite. Once upon a time, I had Russell Clements by his ankles. He's leaning across, goes, "Gow, you can see him changing."
Well, so Oscar was one of those characters that I met when I was teaching at Stoke Park, and then, of course, when I moved to London and had urban golf, we were 500 yards
of course,
from the front door. So Oscar was a great man. I mean, a colourful character who, if you Google him, you'll see some of the things that he got up to. But he was just a brilliant old school gentleman, and he was just, he was great at all times, and he was generous, and he was, they don't make him like that anymore. And I probably spoke to Oscar every day for a long time. Yeah, we used to kind of meet up for a little. He'd have a cup of tea and I'd have a beer. Did used to pop in the club sometimes in my heyday.
Oh, and, that's funny, because I met the Catman from Sophisticats.
Oh yeah.
And when we used to pop in there, he used to chuck me the mic to introduce the girls. He goes, "Here for one time only. It's not spring, it's not autumn, it's not winter, it's summer."
Yeah, I mean that was a funny one, but I mean I do think that Oscar was a brilliant man. Sadly, he died about 4 or 5 years ago.
Oh.
But he was 85 years old and still in the club every day, and he was pretty sprightly till the day he went, really.
That's brilliant.
Yeah,
that's really cool. Big shout out to all Hapstar, Darren, Adam, Dan, and of course Stinkerbell. Now, what is happiness to you? Imagine Hapstar being a unique tool that helps staff be happier, a genuine and proven scientific approach to compel staff to stay longer, get to that magic 3rd year. And we all know happy people make you money. It's absolutely fucking brilliant as a tool. You've got to check it out. It's a game changer. Smile and dial, Hapstar. It's emotional. Should we go to the desert?
Should we go to the island?
The island, desert island. Through loads of money in production value, can you tell?
Really.
Right. So the idea, right? Again, this doesn't really work. But the theory is, when I come up with the idea, it was so you can have one of everything. So it's like a desert island prison. That's the whole concept. So you can have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Right, you've got 10 first ever. It's a quick fire round.
Yeah.
One wish.
One wish.
It's quicker than that.
Sorry. I wish I would never fat a chip again.
Is that really?
Well, yeah.
Do you know what?
It's a terrible feeling, isn't it?
Yes.
Fed up with it. When you move it 3 feet.
You've got to commit all the way through. Get your hips into it. Right, one prediction.
We're all going to die.
Okay, do you know what? You might be on. Yeah, hopefully not as soon as the papers will have you believe. One best moment you've ever had. Anything.
Leaving school.
Was it that bad?
Yeah.
Was it just because you weren't really into it, or just didn't really get the gig, or
it was pain, I found it painful. Yeah, I just found it really painful. But I remember that summer.
So you've never actually ever worked for anyone? Have you got a problem with authority?
Yeah, I have a bit. Yeah.
Is it pushing back on stuff?
Yeah.
So that summer, so you were going to say interrupt?
Well, no, that summer I just knew that was the start of my life, and it was summer, and I went to Ibiza as well with my mate, and started that journey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally, I've just had 3 weeks there. I couldn't wait to get home. One do-over. So something you've done that you think, do you know what? If I had the chance again, I'd do it differently. Would you have done better at golf if you took it more seriously?
Oh, I don't know. I think no, probably not. Do over. I mean, you'd want to do it all over, really, wouldn't you? But I mean,
do you know what my mate Bill said? He goes, just on my deathbed, I like to start again.
Mulligan.
Yeah, Mulligan.
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. One guilty pleasure.
Can I have 2?
Yeah, can I have one?
Right. Number 1 is buying old golf clubs. I just have this massive collection of great old clubs, and I can't stop. And I save these searches on eBay, and they come up, and then it's like, well, that's never going to come up again. So
I bought a classic old set of Vegas when I was in Scotland with my last boys trip for £100, and the guy said they were owned by the club champion. He's only just got rid of them, and they were the rickety old fucking
really, but
shittiest
used
things.
to death. Yeah.
And I just thought, do you know what? I'll go buy it, and the blades as well.
Yeah.
Can't hit a thing.
Well,
but they're about that big.
Next time you're at Urban, I'm not sure you haven't been in the workshop, have you?
No.
I'll show you. It's a massive rack on the wall it's got everything. So there's that, and then the other one is joining golf clubs. I've got a bit of a issue with joining golf clubs now.
Somebody said Burger King and George Michael. So you've got the other.
Burger King. You should feel guilty for that.
You should feel guilty.
Yeah.
One person you wish you could or would like to meet. I bet you're going to say Sevi. Oh, sorry, that's the Marlboro lie detector. so yeah, whatever I've just said was a lie.
I probably would have liked to have Sevi, but I don't know. Yeah, probably is Sevi. I mean,
you can have it.
Ben Hogan.
Ben Hogan?
Yeah.
So he was the first person who really came up with his own brand golf club?
Yeah.
So I've got...
Dog's named after him, of course.
Ah, not Hulk.
No.
So my first... I did a favour for the guys who own Vega, and they gave me a set of golf clubs with GG and Pirates on them, and they're absolutely...
I've seen those clubs. You had the Mini Masters.
Yeah, I did have the Mini Masters, and they're absolutely beautiful. But for people who don't know Vega golf clubs, they look like they're Tesco's own brand. It's like, it's just, if you don't know, you don't know. One food that you have to eat for the rest of your life.
Oh, spag bowl.
Do you know what? Yeah. Do you ski?
Yeah.
I ski, that's what I eat
Yeah.
all the way through my ski trip. Where'd you go skiing?
Maribel.
We're going there this year.
Are you?
Come, lads. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's going to be really good. One luxury item that you can't live without. Ball cleaner.
Cars. I've got a bit of a soft spot for.
Really? What are you driving today?
I've got an M3 at the moment, which I bought my M3. It's an older one as well. I like the ones without the turbos on. And I bought it at the start of lockdown, so I was shitting myself. And I thought, I need to get a sensible car. I mean, it's classic, my dad. You probably have met my dad. He was actually responsible for the state Ray Wilkins was in at the Mini Masters. But I rang up my dad and said, "Oh, Dad, I was really worried. I thought I was going to go skiing." And I said, "You've got to sell," because I had this crazy, stupid Range Rover. I don't buy new cars. I only buy, cars that are, I think it's better.
Yeah.
But I had this beautiful auto-bio Range Rover that the supercharged. It was mint.
What, the one I've got now?
Yeah, amazing for a golf trip.
Yeah.
So good. But it's very, very expensive, on all fronts. And I rang up my dad and I said, I've got to get a sensible car. I'm going to get one of these. I was going to get one of those little Fiat Abarths. And my dad, a classic, don't do that. You'll be miserable. He just gives the opposite advice to what you think a dad would give. So we settled on the M3 as a sensible car. And I love that car. And I haven't been in a position to really indulge my passion for cars quite as much as I like.
Julianne won't let me get an
love
old car. She hates old cars, but I really, 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 really fancy a Capri.
Oh,
Wouldn't that be funny?
my mum had a Capri.
Oh, they're just...
My dad put it in a ditch.
Your dad sounds epic.
Yeah, he's a bit of a boy.
What a mantra that you live by?
Constant state of resignation.
What, better walk away from everything?
No, just it's actually come out of golf, which is when we go into all situations when we have all these expectations about what it's going to be, and actually it's completely counterproductive.
Yeah.
And I think that if you can just go in at all times and just try and get rid of that bit, treat everything for what it is, be resigned to whatever the outcome is, then you're in a much better position to operate. And it's definitely true with playing golf, but I've
So
most
if you're
of my
behind
life,
the tree, take your medicine.
yeah, most of my life lessons are extrapolated from golf. No, it's more than that actually. It's when you're over a shot, you need to be completely intent on what it is you're trying to do. Now, if you have expectations, which ultimately end up being that you're worried about the things that might happen, you're worried about hitting a shit shot, you're worried about looking stupid in front of your mates, whatever it is, all of that actually erodes the level of intent that you can have, because it makes you're second guessing. So the only way is to go in with complete acceptance. A nicer word actually is to surrender. So you surrender to things rather than trying to hang on and try and control the outcome of things. You surrender.
Sounds like control the controllables.
Don't control anything, I don't think. I think control yourself, go in and have a clear intent and have an open mind and all the rest of it, but be resigned to anything.
And is that how you approach business?
Try. It's not, these things are so easy to say.
So how did you deal with the whole lockdown thing?
Well, I've got mixed emotions about what went on during COVID.
But you can say it, because I probably agree.
I think that what we did was mad, and I think that it's created a huge number of problems with the way that we dealt with it. Problem is that I was very lucky because I should have gone out of business, and I didn't, because I was able to furlough my staff. To be honest, I got a little bit of, you could apply for these things that it was mad, discretionary. No, I didn't do any loans, but you had. I was lucky because I'm not very organised with this stuff, but I have a friend of mine from the golf club, usual stuff, called Bob, who is a shrewd operator, and he's got a pub round the corner, and he filled me in, and I only just made some of the deadlines, but we got about 60 grand in just giveaway, they just give you that, and it was discretionary, so that money was given to the councils. So we had to write to the City of London and fill out a form and all the rest of it, and then they would decide how much they would give you. I mean,
why didn't you take any debt? Was there a reason for that, or you just don't like debt?
Well, I borrowed all the money to do Smithfield, and that really put me off. I've never borrowed money since.
Right. Really?
So I don't have any debt in the business. We're very lucky. I have a very brilliant and great friend who is my business partner. Probably my best friend, Henry Squire, we're great mates, and for me, for whatever reason, I've only ever been in business with my mates, and people always say that is difficult, and it probably is, but I've never known any other way.
Yeah. And
Henry and I have been through the mill, and it hasn't always been easy. We've had, as sure anybody does with who runs a business, but this particular business has very high costs, and you don't really know how many people are going to walk through the door, and it is a stressful business. It has been a stressful business to operate at times, not least.
Well, you had the whole Brexit thing, you can get staff, and it's
Well,
most of your staff have always been English.
Yeah, so
I've noticed that.
But he's been the best business partner ever, really. I mean, I'm very pleased to say that we're on the right side, and I've paid back investor money and all that stuff, which I'm quite proud of, and I'm completely in the clear now. So we'll see. But I think the thing is that if with COVID, we would have definitely lost the business. But we furloughed everyone. We did an amazing deal with the landlord. Very lucky on that front. A lot of landlords were not very understanding. We did a great deal with the landlord, which hopefully, we're a bit more exposed in certain areas, but it's actually much better going forwards than the old deal was. And here we are. We made it through, and we had the year after we were allowed to come back, which we lost. Our year is 1st of April till 31st of March. We didn't get open, I think, after that last lockdown till the middle of May, and we had our best year we ever had. So
I think people were desperate to get out, weren't they?
Yeah,
there was quite a lot.
Yeah. But I feel very well.
I'm very proud of you, because that's really tough. So a lot of businesses have gone under. I mean, too many, to be fair. So it's not really fair. It did right.
It refocused me. I mean, it's interesting when. So my life in business, I guess. So my business has always been very personal to me, both in terms of who I'm in business with and why I'm doing it. If you're in business with your best mate and he's been an investor, there's a bit more on the line when it comes to making sure it works and making sure he gets his money back and all the rest of it. So it's highly charged from the beginning, and there's all sorts of other things. It's been such a big part of my life in terms of things that have happened over the years personally and how those have linked to the business and all the rest of it. And I'm sure everyone that's got a business has that feeling, but that thing that happened in COVID really did refocus me. In my 20s, when I started the business, I was too ambitious, and I was too much of a control freak, and I was a megalomaniac because I was shitting myself, really, most of all. And then I probably got into my 30s, realised that. Somebody helped me to realise that, actually. And I went very chilled. And I really did cruise through my 30s a little bit. I'm not saying I took, I didn't keep my eye on the ball, but I played loads of golf. I was living in Primrose Hill, and I was, kind of working from home a bit. And it was definitely a reaction to the chaos of my 20s, I think. So pretty chilled, and then I'm into my 40s now, and I'm trying to refocus again and try, but not be a megalomaniac and not hurt people around me while I'm doing it. So
fuck them. They need to get out of the way.
Yeah.
Can we have some emergency questions, please? Hola, and thank you to Camino Partners for sponsoring Pints of View Series 2. Now, Camino Partners are the ultimate staffing providers for UK and European recruitment back office talent. That includes finance, marketing, and everything in between. They own the scene between the scene. Also, Harry Houston doing the consultancy piece. Big fan. There is a link in the normal show notes as ever. Call them, we love them. And Sachin, thank you, mate.
What is this?
So it's nice I had to ask for them because generally he tells me when I'm being really fucking boring. So we ask for emergency questions. So one, two,
James
three,
has been fantastic.
5,
You'd
6,
have got
7,
sacked off
8,
hours
9,
ago.
10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Got 15 questions.
Okay.
Choose one, any number, 1 or 15. 1 to 15. Favourite band or musical act?
Pink Floyd, probably.
Shut up. Really?
Yeah.
Are you a bit of a rocker deep down?
Yeah.
That comes from your dad, doesn't it?
A little bit, yeah. I always come back to Pink Floyd.
Do you have it in the car?
Yeah.
It's not really car music though, is it? It just takes you like...
Yeah, but you listen to a whole album.
You have to listen to it as an album.
Yeah.
Not just individuals.
No.
I would never in a billion years have got that. Right, another number.
4.
Favourite film?
Good question.
Caddyshack.
Good question.
Tink Up.
Bloody hell. I really love Wes Anderson films.
Right.
I think that they're pure theatre and they take you to a different place. And I think,
I'm nodding, thinking, who the fuck's Wes Anderson?
you know, like Grand Budapest Hotel and Royal Tenenbaums, and
they are so random.
yeah, it's so good.
Oh.
And actually, I've been trying to watch the most recent one, and I'm struggling to watch it just because I think you need to be completely focused on what's going on the screen. I think that's I'm too distracted. You know, I'm looking at my phone and stuff.
OCD.
Yeah.
Yeah.
ADHD, I think.
Yeah, I've got fucking all that shit. Right, another number.
2.
Brilliant. What is your superpower? So I'm Mr. Energy, positive. Don't say anything negative. La 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 la. What's yours?
It comes with a caveat, but I'm very good at ideas. I've realised that, and I struggle to say I'm very good at things most of the time when it comes to anything other than
I don't
hit driver. But I just tend to, if we're in a room, and going back to this thing with Sounder of working collaboratively with people, it's really nice to have really good people to bounce stuff off. And I've realised that actually the time that I've spent on my own in business, I really would benefit from having cool people around me because it really helps to get things going. But yeah, I'm good with ideas and I'm bad at follow-up.
So I have this whole theory that every year you should start one new business or one new business idea.
I had the same thing.
Right? And it really inspires me because I learn new stuff that I can put into the other businesses.
Yeah.
And I hadn't done it for a bit, so I've launched 3 new businesses this year.
Yeah.
One's a giveaway, one's something I could do myself, and I've nearly finished it, and one I'm doing collaboratively with 2 other people.
Yeah.
And I also have 2 marketing people, the best PA on the planet, a video person, marketing people. So with all of that, I get an idea, I throw it over my shoulder, then my PA drives me to get it done.
Yeah, that's
she goes,
great.
Where's the
That's
deadline? Where's the deadline? But you can't get an Emma for Love the Money. She's worked with me now for touching 35 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I must be half a decent bloke.
But it's lovely, isn't it? The very early bit of starting business is the best bit.
Yeah, but you've got to work all the shit out. It's like, can I make money from this?
Yeah.
Like, oh.
Got to reverse engineer.
Yeah. I'm going to ask you one. What gets your goat? Because it doesn't seem that much. You are probably the most laid-back person in the world.
Oh, well, I've been having a bit of anger recently about certain things, turning into a bit of a grumpy old man.
Well, you're not going to throw the ball back.
Do you know what's really doing my head in at the moment? Social media.
But you are brilliant at it. As a business, you are proper 9 out of 10 in terms of your outbound.
Oh, thank you.
It's the right
Nothing to do with
cadence.
me.
It's the right cadence. It's the right tone of voice. It's the right messaging. It's cool. It's golf, but cool.
Yeah.
Cool, but golf.
It's more the stuff where. So I've got a reasonably good relationship with social media. I don't do the urban golf stuff. The only social media account I have is an Instagram account called Urban Custom Clubs, and all I do is nerdy golf equipment stuff. And I just take pictures of the nice, it's probably ridiculous, but the nice...
What instead of your starters, you take
nice
pictures
clubs
of your
that
wedges?
or something I've just made or whatever.
When you say made, what, you buying heads and buying
sticks
and then you're putting them together, or you're not actually...
I've been obsessed with the way golf is taught and the way equipment is fitted since I was 17. So it's always been there. And then when I did the development work on simulators, the people that I was working with had some really interesting technology from a fitting perspective. And so I put this fitting business into Smithfield when we opened it up. And then I've had different people doing it over the years. And then a few years ago, I was just like, I can't be able to keep training people and keep leaving. So then I just thought I'll do it myself, and I'll do it as a hobby on the side. And so I fit people, not many, 2 or 3 a month, and I make the clubs to an irrational standard, and I get really good results for people. It's quite satisfying. It's nice to share that with people, otherwise it's quite selfish. But then recently what I've been doing is a little bit more buying in really cool older stuff, and you know about resto mod cars?
Yeah, of course.
And sort of resto modding. So I'll pull it all apart, I'll do it up, I'll redo all the colours, make them look really cool, put cool shafts in them, update them, and then not sell them because I don't want to sell them.
Can I bring my mirrors in and make them look special?
We've decided it would be a nice thing to do on the Sounder website. So they're going onto the Sounder website, and I think they're all going to go on as sold out, so I don't want to let them go.
There's a really good thing on G4 Golf where they basically looked at head, body, legs, feet, and then the eyes, and they looked at every part of the body, and then basically click on that to actually look at all the different things they've done.
Oh, really?
It was really, really clever. It'd be right up your strata to look at that, because it demonstrates what you're doing as a brand, which is really, really cool.
Well, you must come down and have a look at my workshop. I think you'd like it.
Yeah.
I'm into the persimmons as well, the old 80s persimmons. I've got a big collection of those.
Shut up.
Yeah, I play quite a lot with persimmon.
Right. You know I'm going to do this now. I'm going to be such a fucking pain in your ass.
It's quite a good late night spot as well.
Also, what time do you finish?
Well, we usually, if we play, like Ryder Cup Friday this year, there's a few reprobates that the sim down the end, the bunker, so the workshop's beside that. So we'll stay in there, and obviously I've got keys, so we can stay.
Okay, I'm calling you. Yeah. This has been absolutely joy and delight. I really appreciate you coming in. It's lovely to see Hogan. We always give our guests the last word. So is there anything, firstly, is there anything I haven't asked you that I should have asked you? And is there anything you'd like to say to sign off?
I don't know if there's anything you should have asked me. I was in a complete state of resignation, obviously.
It's what it is.
Yeah, last word. I don't know, really. No, I mean, my last word would probably be question to you, really, which would be, I don't really know I don't know in detail about what you're up to these days and what you're doing. I've been watching you on LinkedIn. This pirates thing looks to me like it's some sort of cartel around recruitment.
Yeah, no, you can't say cartel, because literally I could do time for that. If you cartel and you tell everyone what they charge, they come and take you away. So you can't change the industry. It's cartel. So I'm still doing lots of non-exec work. So I'm advising businesses how to make more money more quickly and sustainable and increase shareholder value. The Pirates is basically a forum for network for people to talk shop and talk about what they're doing. I've got a new app coming out which is helping people value their businesses called Value. Why didn't anyone take that?
Brilliant.
I've got a business which is, I came up with a strapline which is 50 Shades of Great. So I came up with a business to match that strapline.
Yeah.
So it's called Sprint R, and it helps people do powerful sprints during the day, which is gamified.
Yeah.
So there's different shades of pirate.
Yeah.
So you get promotions.
So this is the fellow was on your pod, wasn't he? The gamification guy. What's his name?
Derry Holtz.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we've taken an idea out of... I did ask him if he wanted it. He's going to be absolutely gutted when I do it.
Yeah.
And we're now talking about doing a whole business based around what they're called?
Influencer factories.
Thank you very much. So it's an influencer mine So we're taking 42 products every week, and we're getting people to teach them how to be influencers on behalf of our customers to take their product to market. So it's like a modern day hyper version of QVC, but with kids talking about kid shit. So we've got a factory being built in London, a factory being built in Manchester.
Wow.
And so it's a way for kids at university to go, and if they want to go down that route, we teach them how to do it, and based on how many followers they got, they get more money.
Wow.
So that's,
great.
properly out the box.
I want to gamify learning golf.
I can give it you.
That's what I want to do. I think there's a better way of teaching people to play golf, where you literally, you start off with a very basic task. The task gradually gets harder. It's all gamified. It keeps you on the hook because it feeds back in the right way.
So my old golf pro at we were signing off then, but we're off again. Right. So I used to play at High Lee, which is right opposite Mere.
Yeah.
In Cheshire, and I had my own buggy. It had my own gates. Burberry.
Did you have a stereo on your buggy?
Burberry check buggy.
Yeah.
It was like proper Caddyshack shit.
Al Cervic.
Yeah, you had to name all the holes, and we named hole number 4 Tallulah, because it's my daughter's name. So still today, it's like Everest double glazing. It's like the Dave's taxi firm Tallulah. And I was really struggling with my 3-wood. Everything else was all right. I couldn't hit my 3-wood for love nor money. Anyways, he's made me hit 100 balls into a sim, and he goes, right, so the good news is everything apart from your grip, your stance, your takeaway, your triggers, your follow through, your impact and intensity is fine. But that stuff is shit. And I said, I just want you to make me hit a 3-wood. And he said, something which was the most beautiful thing that I've taken into every business I've ever learned. And this is from a golf pro ruining my game at golf.
Yeah.
He said, unless I can teach you a classic golf swing, he goes, because you're doing some random things here, some random things there, and your time is right, you're not getting your hip through. You're hitting the ball all right, but the minute you start to slice, what part of that fucking dog shit swing do I know how to fix? So if you get a classic swing, if you start to snap hook, I can tell you what's wrong. So I could always fix you, but if you're going to do something random all the time, I don't know how to fix it. So I took that into business.
So where did you go from there?
So I took that. So I my golf game went to shit.
Never went back to it.
But I went straight into business. I said, everybody needs to work in a classic way. Define what classic looked like, put that into every one of my businesses,
right.
And when it wasn't going well, I knew what was going wrong.
Yeah.
And we went from a business of 200 people to 2,000, pretty much like that.
That's very interesting.
On that one thing, and I still can't play golf.
When was that?
I was 27.
Yeah. So you're really instilling a culture.
And the best practice. So
Yeah.
if this happens, you do that. If this happens, you do that. So it's basically, if you think about business life being a linear piece.
Yeah.
So as long as everyone does that, they can do their own random bits here and there. But as long as that's in place,
Yeah.
I can teach any business person to be brilliant. But if you don't have any weights and measures, controls, if everyone's just going in and being maverick,
Yeah.
you never grow a business.
Yeah.
And your business never stand for anything. I never mean anything. I never
Yeah,
really
that's
value.
right, isn't it? Yeah.
And then I now have got a story that I can sell to investors
Yeah.
because we've got a formula, and I can point towards America, China,
Right.
any market.
Difficult to
anything.
get past 5 or 6 people if you just operate. Everybody comes in and does their thing, and
Can't.
Yeah.
Well, you get to 10, 5,
Yeah.
and we went to, I think it's 7,000 people now,
Bloody hell.
to 2 billion revenues.
Oh my God.
But I wasn't even trying. But so let's do a sign off. Thank you very much indeed for
Thanks
coming.
for having me.
Literally, thank you for asking that question at the end, you little bastard. It's been an absolute joy having you here. Hopefully, you get to see you soon. I'll come and see your workshop.
Yeah.
Cheers, brother.